together, we're together, we're together, we're together, to hear you, to know that there's someone to talk to beside you, to share what you're going through. There's always someone nearby, 'cause you are not alone, you are not alone.
Did you notice anything offensive about that video? No? Well, that's probably because you're not a social justice warrior. I think we can all agree that the central message of this video was to say, if you have a mental health problem, or if you suffer from depression, or anxiety, or bipolar, you can come to the staff, the counseling services, health services, for help if you need it. Right? But social justice warriors, they interpreted this video as discrimination, because there were too many white people in it.
All white people are racist, all men are misogynistic, all cisgender people are transphobic.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Right? It's almost as if we live in Canada, where the population is 80% white, and the video is 80% white, and they're wondering why. Well, first of all, it's because that's the staff. Those people are the staff of mental health services. Those people are the staff of health services in general, promoting this message, this central positive message that I think everyone could get behind. I'm sorry to break it to you, but the people who hired for these counseling positions, the people who went out and said, hey, who are our counselors going to be? They didn't do it because they were white. They did it because they were qualified. They did it because they were the ones that applied. Did you ever stop and consider that maybe 80% of the people in this video who are white were the only ones who applied to the position? Because that's likely what happened. And, you know, if you have evidence that they discriminated against people of color while hiring for counseling services or making this video, by all means present it, but I don't think that evidence is there. And instead of us all coming together, rallying behind this good cause, promoting mental health awareness, which is a very important issue, you decided to make race an issue. You decided to take the low road. You decided to play the identity politics card. I know a lot of people who worked really hard to make this video happen, to make health services happen. I have a lot of friends in the MATES program at Waterloo who try their very best. They do not care what race you are. Just because you feel discriminated against because you are a minority in a country that is mostly white, where there is no actual evidence of discrimination, does not mean you are discriminated against. The other thing that this douchebag mentions is, even if we took the affirmative action road and put a disproportionate amount of people of color in the video, he still wouldn't be satisfied. He still wouldn't have accepted the message as a positive one for what it was intended to be. The problem with these people is that they never have an end solution in mind. They just want to perpetually bitch about things that shouldn't matter. Good intentions aren't good enough? Then tell us what's good enough. Instead of playing the victim at every given moment, how about you come up with a solution? This race-baiting prick even comes up with the fact that they're using whiteboards. I'm sorry, would you have preferred they used blackboards instead, or would the white chalk written on them have represented colonialism and been offensive too? The comment about the police officer is really just the cherry on top. Judging by this person's Facebook page, they support Black Lives Matter, an anti-police group, so is anyone really surprised? These kinds of people don't want to make amends with police officers, despite this being in Canada where there is very little police brutality, but instead they seek to alienate law enforcement even further. Also, a source of trauma, take the soother out of your mouth and change your adult diaper, you enormous douchebag. I'm sorry, but you are not a toddler anymore, and you cannot just scream and scream and scream and expect to get your way. I used to think SJWs were coming from a good spot. I used to believe they voiced their idiotic ideology because they genuinely believed that they were for equality. I don't believe that anymore. These people are being intentionally and incredibly divisive. The civil rights movement sought to bring people together, not rip them apart. Martin Luther King Jr. is rolling in his grave right now thanks to these people. We had segregated schools in the 50s, and now we have segregated safe spaces and lectures for minorities only. Are we really calling this progress? Look, I get it. If you, as a minority, feel uncomfortable talking to a white person, fine. I would encourage you to seek out and specifically ask for a counselor who is a person of color. But that onus is on you. You can't project your own bias onto white people and then claim systemic racism. You're doing everyone a disservice by doing that. You are the one being racist by alienating a group of people just because of their skin tone, which is exactly what you are claiming to be against. God damn it, people. It's not healthy to look at the world like this. If you're constantly victimizing yourself, and that's what you're doing, you're victimizing yourself, how are you ever going to succeed? How are you supposed to thrive in an environment where you are constantly looking for the negative in every situation and constantly blaming someone else for your own failures? In this person's case, a failure to seek out mental health help. This is incredibly insulting to the compassionate and caring staff and volunteers at Waterloo who go out of their way to accommodate students from all walks of life on a daily basis, and you should feel ashamed of yourself.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.